Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is David Andrew Christensen. It's December 19th, 2012. This is video number 147. I've titled it, "Here's the story of how you will be assassinated by the federal government, factual and verifiable." Everything that I state is documented. It's factual, it's verifiable, and you can go look at it. You can go to www.persimmonpublishingus.com. Under the Documents tab, you can go to federal and state court websites to see the information that I've put out. I've never been charged with a crime. All right, the docket is very clear on that. Look at what they did to me for writing and doing research. Writing, ladies and gentlemen, and doing research for being a federal whistleblower. The federal government murdered Coast Guard Commander William Goatsey for being a federal whistleblower on the BP oil spill. The following should provide clear and concise evidence that the federal government is the enemy, and that all Americans should be able to own guns without restrictions and or oversight. My opinion could be different if the federal government were held accountable. Nobody is holding the federal government accountable. They are a criminal enterprise that is out of control. Federal government executive branch rules, and both Obama and Bush are responsible. This isn't one or the other party. This is anybody that's occupying that office. These rules are illegal, they're non-public, and they're classified. The rules absolutely deprive Americans of their constitutional and civil rights. Rule 1 is simple. Classify all Americans as terrorists and deny them their constitutional rights. Rule 2, murder those Americans that do not comply. Rule 3, do not inform the American people of actual or potential harm due to the incompetence, negligence, or criminal activity of the federal government. Rule 4, violate international, national, and state laws to cover up and or keep secret the criminal, unethical, and immoral conduct of the federal government. Rule 5, use propaganda to manipulate the American people. This includes desensitizing Americans. Let me explain. By classifying Americans, such as myself and Coast Guard Commander William Goatsey, as terrorists, the executive branch can bypass the federal judiciary, thereby denying an individual his constitutional rights. Coast Guard Commander William Goatsey and I are perfect examples, as we were deprived and denied of our constitutional and civil rights. The federal government attempted to murder me by medicating me against my will with psychotropic drugs. The federal government murdered Coast Guard Commander Goatsey using those drugs. I put the website for the Constitution, and as we're talking about, ladies, the violation of the Constitution, the most sacred document in the land. It starts out, we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Now, the beginning of the Constitution, all right, is to establish the presidency, the legislature, and the Supreme Court. The Bill of Rights is the first 10 amendments. All right, that's what our federal government maliciously, intentionally, and egregiously violates every day of the year. They have no use for the Constitution, and they don't care that it exists. They don't care if it's the law of the land. They just don't care. They're going to do whatever they want. They're a criminal organization. So let me go through what they did to Coast Guard Commander Goatsey and myself. All right. Amendment 1, free speech and the right to petition the government in the federal judiciary. All right. The right to assemble. Amendment 2, the right to own a gun, self-defense. Amendment 4, illegal search and seizure, right to self-defense, not to be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of the law, innocent until proven guilty. Amendment 5, you cannot self-incriminate yourself. Amendment 6, speedy trial, informed of the charges, to confront your accuser and have an attorney. That's in the Constitution, ladies and gentlemen. Amendment 8, excess bail should not be required, nor cruel and unusual punishment inflicted. All right. They violated all of those rights for me and for Coast Guard Commander Goatsey. We need to be protected from our government. Gun control is not the answer. Forcing the federal government to follow law is the answer. All right. Telling us the truth would help. Now I've listed the websites. All you do is click on these. I'm going to talk about these. You can go and follow along. Just go to Persimmon Publishing. Actually, when you do that, just look in the description and click. All right. Start with the court docket. That's an official record. They asked for a $500,000 bond. In the court docket, they got a $300,000 bond. I had not been charged with a crime. Okay. It's very clear that I was never charged with a crime. The end of the docket, on the last date, it says that any charges were refused. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a misdemeanor. It was a non-violent, non-drug, non-domestic misdemeanor, the equivalent of a DUI. I've included the law. All right. I was under orders to send this agent emails. All right. I had been sending him emails for 6 months. Then all of a sudden, a SWAT team comes to my house with shoot-to-kill orders and arrests me. Unbelievable. So they get away with violating. Now, you know, I'm going to continue down. Let me go through this. So, I was held 21 days past the legal limit. All right, 90 days is the legal limit to bring charges. They held me for 111 days. I did not receive, as is required by law, a preliminary hearing, a show cause hearing, and an arraignment hearing, as is required by law. Okay, you can look at the docket. I didn't get it. And remember, I was arrested on state warrants, not federal warrants, and the charge was cyberstalking an FBI agent. Item 2, the Louisiana cyberstalking law. Look at it. All right. I was never told not to email the agent. He ordered me to email him. And the last paragraph says it all. My emails were informative and political in nature. All right. I was practicing, my civil rights to conduct an investigation, to research what happened during Hurricane Katrina. The third item is the bond. Unbelievable. And I know I've written on these. I don't have fresh copies. But look at item 3. I'm not to have access to the internet. Their job was to paint me as crazy. All right. They wanted to put me in an insane asylum for a year to isolate me. All right. And they couldn't do it. For whatever reason, they couldn't get it done. So look at item 3. I mean, what did that have to do with sending 2 emails? And I'd sent over 50 to this agent. What did that have to do with the internet, other than to stop my doing research? It does. It's a simple answer, the $500,000 bond. Okay. Look at item 4, waives all my rights for a year. All of them. This isn't a requirement for bond. They were going to keep me on this bond for a year. I wouldn't have internet. I mean, the non-domestic stay away order was going to be enforced for 1 year. I mean, they didn't want me doing anything. This is a violation of my constitutional rights, and I'm going to come back to this in a second. Look, there's 74 people on the non-domestic stay away order. Senators Vitter and Senators Landry. The director of the FBI is on there. My friends are on there. My attorneys are on there. It's a very draconian document. They would have been required by law to fill out affidavits. None of them did. Okay. I was represented by U.S. Attorney Billy Gibbons. He never represented me. His job was to get me into an insane asylum. All right. He never read anything that I gave him at all. He is the one that waived my rights. Now remember, as soon as I got out of jail after 11 days, I filed complaints with the federal government. No response, no acknowledgement. I put my military DD 214 in. Next is the arrest warrant. Stephen Ray's, the FBI agent, went to his friend in the Violent Crimes Task Force. Cyberstalking, even if it was true, is not a violent crime, ladies and gentlemen. But he goes to his friend, which is illegal. I mean, that is against the law. All right. The next thing is the search and seizure warrant. Read that. You thought I was the worst. You thought I was Obama bin Laden. All right. Unbelievable what they took out of my house. And the most amazing part is the emails are out there. It wasn't like they had to come to the house. I'd never seen Ray's kid before. Never went near him. And they said, oh, they had to do it because there was an immediate impending threat. But yet, the whole incident happened weeks before. Moving on. I put the incident in the background where it happened. I walked that street twice a day, and you can read that. I put 16 pages about the murder of Coast Guard Commander Goatsey and how it was done. They didn't tell his family. I would have liked to included the lawsuit It's 66 pages long. It is right out of Nazi Germany. The last thing is the notification to President Obama, Senator Vinner and Landrieu, Governor Jindal, Representative Richmond, etc. Put it in the court record, mailed it, faxed it, and emailed it to all of them. So it's there. There's no doubt that it's there. All right. So let me go through this, how they violated my rights. Let's go back to the Constitution itself. Okay. Free speech. I have that right according to the First Amendment. All right. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. I have that right. And if I'm telling the truth about the federal government and the criminal enterprising that they're running, I still have that right. The federal government can't say, no, you don't. The right to assemble. They denied me access to my attorneys. They denied me access to my home. They denied me access to my friends. They didn't have that right. The right to own a gun. I don't own a gun. They have denied me the right to purchase a gun. I have a right to have a gun for self-defense. I don't have that right anymore. Illegal search and seizure. They lied to a judge. A judge knew they were lying, and he still issued the warrants. If the judge would have read the emails or asked any questions at all, but he didn't need to, he didn't want to, so they falsely arrested me. I have a right to self-defense. I'm not to be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of the law. I'm innocent until proven guilty. Being placed in isolation and medicated against my will, I think was clearly a violation of that, and they intentionally did it. They maliciously did it. Item 5, self-incrimination. They had to, and this is really amazing. They tried to get information from me, from my wife. All right, they took things that were private, that were subject to the attorney-client privilege. All right, that's why they came into my house, to get everything that I had. They wanted the research documents from Harvard. They wanted the research documents from the National Institute of Health. They wanted the research documents from the CDC. They wanted the DVD of what the military did in New Orleans. They wanted the DVD of the FBI agent assaulting me. They wanted to make sure they got it all. So the Constitution didn't matter. All right, what mattered is they got that information, and they incriminated me in the press by spreading lies. Speedy trial. Well, obviously I didn't get that. I didn't get the preliminary hearing. I didn't get the show cause hearing. I didn't get the arraignment. I was held 21 days past what is allowed by law. I didn't get a chance to confront my accuser. The accuser was actually the arresting officer and actually provided information to the prosecutor. He held a private hearing with the judge and told the judge what he needed him to do, and they all cooperated, including the district attorney. Unbelievable. Excess bail, ladies and gentlemen. Murderers don't get $500,000 bonds or $300,000 bonds. I should have been released on my own recognizance. It was a non-threatening email at best. They weren't threatening. I was under orders to send those to that agent. He never told me to stop. They went to official FBI addresses. It says excessive bail. A carjacker with a gun in the day I was in court, got a $75,000 bond. Mine was set at $300,000. The last that cruel and unusual punishment inflicted, the medication, the isolation, to go get therapy, to put a monitoring device on me, to shut off my water and natural gas. What can I say? They wanted me to crack up. All right, and it says in the Constitution, and I can't get that through to y'all. This is how they assassinate Americans, God-loving, Americans such as myself. Do you know that they're classifying Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, Green Berets, and U.S. Marines when they leave the military as terrorists? There's 127,000 veterans that have been discharged since 1998 that are classified as terrorists that can't own weapons. 99% of them don't know that they have that classification. It's in the instant background check system for this nation. And that's what they're doing. If you believe in God, they're classifying you as a terrorist. If you're a gun owner, they're classifying you as a terrorist. And they put that out in the press. I'm not making it up. Homeland Security has made that call, and it's public. There's a report on it, okay? You need to take a look at this. I'm not the only one this is happening to. Gosey's not the only one this is happening to. The Supreme Court is cooperating with it. All right, so let me summarize. The Constitution is the cornerstone of this country. And our government, our federal government, and Obama knows who I am, ladies and gentlemen. I guarantee that he is briefed on me, if not on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. He has given his implicit consent for my assassination. The only reason I'm still alive right now is I've made too much news by giving everything I do to the Supreme Court of the United States. It's an odd protection, but it's out there. It's all over the internet. And once it hits the internet, it doesn't go away. So we need to be protected from our federal government. Don't let them con you like they're doing, like Obama did today about gun control. They want to take guns away from Americans, all right? And you can't let them do it. I mean, that kid in Connecticut, yesterday in Colorado, the kid in Aurora, obviously they had guns, but ladies and gentlemen, those people way past what anybody that's mentally ill would do. And people try to say, well, Hitler did it. Hitler wasn't hands-on when it came to murdering those people. Other people did it because they were afraid and had to do it in the way it was done. I mean, there's a big difference. To walk in and kill 20 kids, that's a sign of, and I hate to use the word zombieism, but that's what it is. And Obama's using that for gun control. We are in scary times, ladies and gentlemen. Please don't let them have gun control. Our government is our biggest enemy. We need to stop them. They're out of control. Godspeed.